Well,
Where did you go to school?
I went to St. Monica's school.
And how many classrooms were there?
There were 8 classes. There were 4 in the little room and 4 in the larger room.
Were you a good student?
Beg pardon?
Were you a good student?
I think I was. My report card showed it.
You didn't misbehave?
No, I don't know. I guess there were instances when I wasn't perfect.
What was Grandpa like as a father? Was he really strict?
No. The boys could get by with most anything with him. Not so with me, though. I asked Billy not long ago, who do you think? Or no, I asked your dad, Jimmy, and he said he thought I was the strictest.
How did you get them to do what you wanted them to do?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think your father ever did give boys any punishment.
But you did.
Well, sometimes I smack them.
Were they pretty good as kids? Were they
Well, I
difficult?
used to get them to wash dishes, and one would be between Billy and Jimmy, and they'd wash the dishes, and then they'd take a dish towel, and then they'd hit each other with a dish towel, and then they'd complain, why isn't Bobby washing dishes? Well, he was much younger, but the other 2 were old enough to do that. Well, when they were very small, I remember we used to buy them these big trucks, dump trucks, you know. They'd play out in the yard and load it up with dirt, and they played outside quite a bit. And of course, Bill started them with baseball. He liked baseball, and then they played football, and of course there were children in the neighborhood. They played cops and robbers, was a big deal with them. And we had a little house down here, and well, that was their meeting place when they belonged to the Boy Scouts. All 3 of them belonged to the Boy Scouts, and that was their meeting place. And I was one of the den mothers. See, that was for the younger ones.
How did you know him?
Well, we lived in the same community, and they had a store, and I used to wait for the bus in the store, and at the time we'd be waiting for the bus. His father would be tending the store, and if he got busy, Bill was upstairs in bed, and they had a hole in the ceiling of the store, and it seemed like Bill's room was right above that, and his father would call up there for him to come down to help. And see, his brothers and sisters, his 2 brothers and sister, there were 7 in the family, and I went to school with them at Clayton. Not all of them, but 3 or 4 went to Clayton when I went there.
What did you like about him when you first got to know him?
I don't know. I don't know. Nothing special, I guess.
Was he a good-looking guy?
Oh, fairly good looking. I'm not saying he was the best looking.
Was he funny, interesting, tell a good story?
Well, no, he didn't tell good stories. I used to go to the dances. There were dances at the Creve Coeur Country Club. And I'd go with my brother, and that's where most of the girls went, with their brothers or sisters, and then we'd meet them at the dance, and they'd take us home. And then maybe they'd make a date to go to the show.
At that point, had you dated a lot of people?
Yes, at that time, you dated a lot of people. You just didn't go with someone, when you started out, you went with different ones. And even when I was going with him, I went with different ones. I worked in St. Louis, and I went with a pharmacist in St. Louis, but he didn't come up to Bill. So we dated for a long time. And like I said, there were a few problems, but we finally eloped. Well, I couldn't tell you that. I don't know, I guess. Oh, when I went with him, I didn't care about anybody else, I cared about him. I don't know, that just came automatically, I guess. He didn't make a special proposal, I don't think. We discussed it a long time, and there was a lot of difficulties in that. He was of a different religion than I was. But finally we just decided to go and get married. And we came back, and a friend of ours, a couple that we knew, stood up for us. We went out here, and that's another thing I always forget is the name of the town where we went. But anyway, when we came back, we stopped at my parents' house and told them we were married, and they didn't say boo. And we went to his parents, and they didn't say anything. I guess they thought if we should know what we're doing. Well, I was 25 or 26, I guess, and Bill was 31. He was 5 or 6 years older than I was, and.
Were your parents upset?
No, they didn't. They never did interfere with our marriage at all. They were very nice to us, and so was his parents.
But you thought that they would be upset, or they...
Well, we didn't know. But I think they figured, well, my mother and father, well, no, they didn't elope, but we were married by the justice of the peace, see. And my mother and father were married by the justice of the peace. And then afterwards, they were married by a priest.
What was the problem for you guys? Was it religion? Was it a different French versus German?
Yes, it was religion. That's what took us so long. We dated for years.
What was the secret to keeping the marriage going, to make it a good marriage?
I don't know. I think we both loved each other very much.
Did you ever think your children would be as successful as they were and as they are?
You mean be like they are now? No, I didn't think much of it. I thought they were perfectly normal like all the other children. But I never dreamt they'd amount to what they've all amounted to now.